Welcome back to Parasite Eve, the game where all the shadows are perfectly round. And if you hadn't noticed that before now, you will now never be able to not notice it. It will get in your brain, and it will stay there for the entire duration of this LP. You're welcome. Day 3, Selection. Let's go ahead and get started here in Maida's flop house, because we just kicked everybody out because we didn't want to kill them with our crazy parasite powers. What's in the box? Ammo! Sounds good, man. Did I spend my bonus points? I didn't have any bonus points. Alright, let's get to it. What? Maida, he's right there! But aren't you afraid of my horrible parasite powers? Aren't you afraid that I'm going to set you on fire? Or launch you into space? Or whatever it is that I can do with my new magic? It just goes to show that Maida is a true friend through and through. He's the best friend you could ask for after only having known a person for 12 hours. Maida's kind of an interesting character because he's kind of conflicted with himself, because he's part scientist, part, oh, I follow the evidence, science is never wrong, and part, like, superstition, as we'll see. Oh, Dollis didn't leave either. He was smart enough to spend the night down the road at a hotel. So Manhattan has been completely evacuated, which is for the best. So Dollis either spent the night at the hotel, or he was just, you know, tearing circles around the empty streets of Manhattan. Dude was doing donuts in the intersection up the road. So what do you do in an empty city on the day after Christmas when nobody else is around and you got monsters on the horizon? A little bit of looting, that's right. Looks like we weren't the only people with that plan. That's fine though, that's totally fine. I actually don't have Soho mapped out on my sheet here, so I don't remember what all items I'm going to find here, so let's check all the boxes. A revive is always nice to have. Ooh, Medicine 2 I will probably end up not using, because I've got Heal 2 at this point. And in the back room, probably some stat items. Yeah, there's a stat item. And my inventory's full. We don't need this junk. I'm going to save these armor up items for now. I'm actually going to use that tool. Because the armor that I'm going to use for a lot of the game comes up later today. So the armor up items that I've got on me right now will get used, just not yet. A few rooms into the next dungeon is when we'll be doing that. Kind of a waste to put a bunch of pluses on this armor that I'm not even going to be wearing for very much longer. The pluses, though, as I explained, aren't really lost. It's just they're stuck on the armor that I put the bonuses on. I got stuck on, kind of like how I got stuck on Maida right there. Until I loop the game and we do an X game. Because in the X game, you keep all of the armor that you stashed with Wayne, and then as you gain tools on an X game, you can go ahead and reclaim those bonuses. But it only adds up to a little bit, a fraction of the total end bonuses of the armor. Dollis, you're totally not going to do this. You're totally not going to do this. Oh, he's going there. Dollis, you mean to tell me you discharge your weapon in the direct direction? That's exactly what the chief would say. I was going for like a, hey, your badge, my desk kind of thing there, but no, I messed it up. This is a great line, too. One of my favorite lines in the game. Aya getting snooty with Maida there about scientific proof about whether or not Dollis is a cop. Because he's not a cop, damn it. He plays by his own rules. Something renegade. Inventory's full. Let's go ahead and throw the junk in there. A range +1. I will use that right away. Go ahead and beef up the 220 a little bit. Over here we got another tool. So my inventory's totally full, right? I do believe it is. Okay, well let's go ahead and we can ditch This Cure P I won't use ever. And then here we have a Club 2, which means we can ditch the Club 1. We won't ever need that. The Club 2 has a special ability on it which steals from enemies. It can be very useful. Over here we have... I believe that vest is better than what we're wearing. It is. So we're going to put that on, but we're not going to use the defense bonuses just yet. What do we have here? Some ammo, and then here is... Oh, we can throw away this last piece of junk. Ditched. Goodbye. The G19. Nice. So we're going to take the pluses off this G19, which is better than the 220 I've got, but it's got that ×3. I don't like that ×3. I much prefer to have a ×2. And the pluses here are really nice anyway. So we end up with a weapon that's only slightly worse than the G19, but it's actually way, way better because it's got that 2 shots and not 3 shots. There's also a machine gun in there, I think, but machine guns are worthless. They have, like ×5 and ×7 multiplier. I think there's one with a ×10 multiplier. Not a multiplier. It's a shot thing. It's like you stand there in one place, squeezing off shot after shot after shot. It takes forever. It's really bad for guns. Also, some machine guns they pick their targets randomly, which is really stupid. Really, really bad. Machine guns are only good if you have super tools to remove the bad abilities they have. Where's the door at? There we go. We're set. We can beat feet on out of Soho. You know what? Might is a scientist, and I think he might be able to figure some of this out. I think he might be able to put some of his brain power to work. So why don't we head back to the museum, huh? Actually, I think we're about to watch a scene where Maida says, "Hey, is there a museum in town? I sure do like dinosaurs." That's not what he says. But he wants to do some research. And the only place in New York City where Aya and Dollis can think of to go do research is the little tiny room up on the 2nd floor of the museum where Dr. Hans Klamp has his Windows 95 workstation. So yeah, we're going to head back to the museum. Daniel and his mustache do not want to go back to the museum, and I don't blame them, because Klamp was a jackass. But fortunately, Klamp has evacuated Manhattan with the rest of all the people. He was a very minor character in this game. Wave to the chocobo, there it is! So we should be able to just go ahead and get in there, use all of Klamp's equipment, and get back out before anybody even notices what's going on. That's the master plan. And if we're very lucky, we will see some crazy FMVs. If we're lucky, that we'll see some of Square's insanely over-budget CG department at work. We'll see some good old 1997 CG movies. It's funny, because there was a period of time where like every CG movie you saw from game to game to game was the most amazing thing you'd ever seen in your life. Like Final Fantasy VII came out and you watched that and it was like, oh my god, that is amazing. And like Parasite Eve came out and you're like, oh, that's even more amazing. And then Final Fantasy IX was like, oh, I can't even handle it. I can't even, that's it, I'm dead. It killed me. I'm dead now. And it's funny because going back and playing all those games now, it's like, oh, how quaint! Oh, look at that that CG movie, that FMV that's not as good as the graphics as what I have now. As I recall, that is one of the thing, like, they did a gimmick at the launch of the PS2, where they took the ballroom scene from Final Fantasy VIII, which was at that point was a pre-rendered sequence. It was full motion video, and they rendered it in real time using the PS2 hardware. And at the time, that was a big, oh my god, look how powerful this machine is. Speaking of powerful machines, we're about to see the mitochondria machine at work here. We're looking at Maida's blood cells that he just took out of himself, and he applied some of the gel, some of the mitochondrial slime that was on Aya's clothing, and there it is. There. Oh no, he's got metroids all over his nucleus. He gotta bomb those off, man. can't go in there without the ice beam. You're making a big mistake. Wow. So that's what Eve is doing. That's what Eve basically did to all the people in Central Park, is broke down all of their nuclei into disgusting protoplasm, which ended up on Aya's jacket, and then eventually on Hans Klamp's electron microscope. And Maida, dude, I'm just buttoning the top of your shirt there. I mean, have some self-respect. A little bit. Just a little bit. Maida was not in Parasite Eve 2. Parasite Eve 2 was much more of a survival horror game. They changed the controls to be more like Resident Evil. It was a more action-oriented game. As I recall, I'm remembering they really introduced that aspect of resource management, like you only have so much ammo kind of thing, that this game really avoids by being more of an RPG. But then they came out with a third game. They didn't call it Parasite Eve 3 because Square Enix at that point did not have the license to the name anymore. They didn't have the rights to use the name, but they still had the rights to all the characters that they had used. The game was called The Third Birthday. I don't recommend it. It's an awful, awful game. Maida was in that game, though. And I hated Maida so much in The Third Birthday that it's even hard for me to see him in this game, where he's more kind of just like this dorky, endearing scientist guy. Because in that game, he was such a skeevy, douchey, just... like, he made you want to take a shower. You watched a scene with Maida in it. I don't even want to transcribe any of the scenes. I don't even want to describe the things he says, because they're just so disgusting. It's like, oh... And it almost makes me retroactively hate this character in this game. So what we're doing now is we're going to run the same experiment with some of Aya's blood instead of Maida's blood, because Aya has magic mitochondria blood. And we're going to see what happens. Let's see here. We got some blood cells happening. Here we go. We're going into the plasma. Going inside the cell, seeing all the little bits and baubles. I don't know what's inside of a cell. I'm not a biologist or a mitochondriologist or whatever you would call them. Oh, there's the metroids latching onto Aya's nucleus. But her nucleus, man, her nucleus is tough. And them metroids did not have no chance. Metroidchondria. That's right. Oh, you're gonna have to explain it to us, Maida. So basically, her blood has built up a resistance to anything that comes at her from Eve's. That's why when Dollis gets too close to Eve, he bursts into flames, which is a thing he does over and over in this game, which is hilarious. But Aya can get right in there, and instead of shooting her, get onto a horse-drawn carriage, and then crash. So just because Aya can physically get close to Eve in order to combat her does not necessarily mean she always makes good decisions, as we saw yesterday night. It also kind of weirds me out that here we are in late December in New York City, and the character's just wearing light jackets mostly. That's weird. Wait a minute! This asshole was supposed to have evacuated! Why are you here, Dr. Klamp? Dr. Klump? Why is your nose like that? You know what, Dollis? Just shoot him. Shoot him. He's just so rude. Uh-oh. Now Klamp's gonna see what we were doing. He's gonna get the skinny on our Metroid experiment. Look at that nose. That's not even a nose at that point, guys. That is officially a schnoz. Dollis doesn't know what to do. He's just walking around the room at this point. Just looking around. He's like, I don't know what these guys are talking about. I'm just want to know if this dude's got Minesweeper on this thing. Don't answer him, Aya. Just shoot him. Shoot him in the face. Oh, now you're coming on to her. Now I'm like, oh, you're a little bit hot, aren't you? Uh-oh. What did Daniel see? Wait a minute. Klamp's got information on Daniel's family. That's messed up. What was he doing? Was he like outside in the bushes taking notes? Strangle him, Daniel. He's too good for shooting at this point. Just throttle him by the throat. Aya, why did you talk him out of it? That was Daniel's karate chop. Did you like that? He was just showing Klamp what he's going to come back and do to him later. He was like, once my nagging girly partner's not with me, I'm going to come on back and whatcha? Barbarian. He's not a barbarian. More like a warrior priest, I would say. Just telling you guys. Completely circular shadows. You can't unsee it. Alright, well, I think it's about time to head back to the precinct. Drop some of this stuff off with Wayne and find out where the next dungeon is. Because I have no idea. And I really don't like this scene. And not because of the conversation. The conversation's fine. It's all about why Klamp had a list with the Dollis' names on them. No, the reason I don't like this scene is because Maida's big dumb head is right in the way of Dollis' awesome 1990s sedan center console that I enjoyed so much earlier in the LP. So, back to the precincts. What? Oh, no, she didn't. Guys, I think Eve done brought the fight to us for once. That is nuts. No, this will not stand. This will not stand. We're gonna do something about this. Dollis, you're just gonna burn to death again. Ugh. That guy. So here's where Maida's crazy superstitions come into play, because he keeps giving Aya these little, like, voodoo charms. Japanese good luck charms. Oh, isn't that handy? Okay. Into the precincts. First thing we definitely have to do is go downstairs and drop some stuff off with Wayne, because our inventory is clogged right now. I'm going to explain how encounters work in this game. On any screen with an encounter, such as this one here, you have to imagine an invisible line that crosses the screen, and when Aya crosses that line like that, she gets into an encounter. You have to resolve the encounter. You have to complete the fight in order to pass through the screen. If I were to run from this encounter, it would put me back at a spot before the invisible line, so I can't actually just run from encounters. You really do have to win every encounter. The second time you cross the screen, you only have a percentage chance of getting into an encounter, and that chance goes lower and lower the more and more you cross the same screen. Ooh, definitely wanted that offense +1. Nice. Not used to getting those from encounters. That's going to be coming. That explanation will be important here in a minute. Right after I beef up this weapon by +1, and right after I drop some stuff off with Wayne here. Oh no! Not Torres! But Torres is a tough son of a gun! What happened? He has that really creepy old man ponytail. You know, like the bald on top, but the ponytail and the... Oh. That's it. That's it. Torres is gone, man. That tough old cuss. And Wayne secretly loved him. Alright, so there's that M92F. Torres' gun, which he has not used in many years, but which he has kept in perfect condition. And we're going to destroy it immediately. And I mean immediately. This is just Torres' little backstory here. It's not really relevant to anything, it just happened. So we're going to go ahead and destroy Torres' gun right now. You know, take that +1 attack off of it. And the +3 bullets. That's real nice too. Yep, that's fine. So I will take this box. And I will take this box. And then we're going to just stash everything with Wayne. Do I even have junk anymore? No, I don't have any junk. You have to discard 300 pieces of junk to Wayne, and he makes you a super gun. And junk, of course, drops off for those bird monsters that you've seen. So first, let's go ahead and put the old M9 in here. All this armor, all this stuff I'm putting in storage with Wayne will be there when I complete the game and start an X game. So all the pluses, not a lot of pluses. I put a few pluses on those pieces of armor. Those will be there, and I can go back and get those with tools in future replays. So that's all fine. We can also get rid of the Zoo Key, which we don't need, and the Voodoo Doll that Maida just gave us, and 2 of these revives. Revives are more useful in the end game than they are in the beginning. I just want to keep 1 on hand as a kind of insurance policy.